Productions. I'm Intox along with
Bdot, baby.
Hey, let's get it, bro.
Welcome to episode 139. As you can see, we're back outside. But this time, Bdot couldn't make it. So we're going to try a little something different today, you know. The biggest point and thing that I think we want to get into the world today is manifesting our reality, right? A lot of people, you know, talk about it all the time, but nobody really understands what that really comes down to. Like, what is that? I'm not even fully sure that I understand what that means, because we manifest our destiny or manifest our world individually, but we also manifest collectively. And that's the world we see because it's all rendering around us at all times. But, you know, it's kind of like they say, like, if you're not there, if you don't see it, it doesn't exist. It's like the double slit experiment. Y'all ever heard about the double slit experiment? Go check that out. Go look into that. I forget what it's actually called, but it's called a double slit. It's basically the idea that nothing really exists unless you actually visualize it. So when I'm looking out into the world and I see a tree, I see a car, I see a boat, it's what I expect to see. It's what my mind expects to see, and in the conditions I expect to see it. So if my mind isn't right, my heart isn't right, then I can't manifest very well, because I'm going to be manifesting a lot of weird shit. And that's kind of what's happening with everybody, you know? Seems like we're all out here just manifesting some weird shit. That's why we let them take over so much stuff. It's like the politicians and everything in the government. We believe that they're supposed to, you know, take care of us and do all these things, but it's because they made us believe that. They made us believe that we needed them, when really we're sovereign people. We're born onto this earth, and the only reason we pay bills and the only reason we do things is because people are told us to. You know, I get services and ideas. It's like, you know, if you're providing a service, then of course, why wouldn't I, you know, want to pay for that service? That's a different idea. But stuff to live, like water, you know, housing, different stuff like that, we're supposed to just struggle to get these things. These things aren't, you know, if we, like I've told people before, you got to think about it, right? If you have a strong society, or you want a strong society, you know, your government wants a strong society, there's like three basic things that you would do in order to keep that society, you know, strong. One is provide food. You'd provide the food for that civilization, because, you know, you want your people to be healthy. You provide good food. We don't even get that. You know, if our grocery stores, you know, have a health food section, then what the fuck is the rest of the store? It's unhealthy. It's the unhealthy section. You know? So, you know, it's like we got all these things. Like, I get, you know, we got to go back to some different things, because, you know, when we had markets, open free markets and stuff, we could get the local, you know, we could get the local veggies and local fruits. And I mean, come on, we don't even have fruit trees in our fucking yards anymore. You know, I grew up with like a fig tree and a pecan tree and some different stuff down south in Texas growing up. You know, we had trees. I had a fig tree, I think, at one point. It's like you grow up with these trees and they just give free fruit. You could always, you know, find something, an apple, an orange, a peach, something, right? You know, and it seemed like, but, you know, living up here, I'm still technically in the South, I guess, if I'm in Maryland, right? But I'm over on the East Coast, and it's like none of these trees bear fruit of any kind anywhere unless you specifically grow it yourself. But I remember trees that used to just grow stuff, and you used to walk by and just grab a couple things off the ground or whatever, stuff that would drop off, or maybe you just pluck one off the tree branch or whatever. Nobody was tripping. You know, you weren't out there taking it and trying to like make a living off of it. You're just grabbing one or two, you know, easy peasy. We got away from all that. It's like you realize you grow up and then everything costs. And it's like, why? Why does everything cost so much? And then the inflation, our money is worthless. So anyways, let's get back to it. So the first thing you want to do is feed them, right? So you feed your people. And next thing you want to do is you probably want to provide education, an education of some sort. If you really want your people to be, doing something or building something or growing something or building an empire, you want your people to prosper. You want your kingdom to prosper, right? So then you're going to provide education. So you got food, you got education. That's two things, right? And then if you wanted to keep them healthy, you would also give them health care of some sort, And we're so used to this crazy healthcare that we have now. It's a hospital and they're doing surgeries and it's all invasive, and half the time it's practicing. They're just practicing. They don't fucking know what the fuck they're doing. They're just going, oh, this is off. Maybe you should balance it with this medicine, or maybe you should balance it with this pill, or maybe this chemical will rebalance your shit. But a lot of those things are in nature for free. A lot of those things are in frequencies. They're in frequencies for free. Yeah, we have frequencies. Frequencies matter. Put that on the screen, right? Frequencies matter. But yeah, it's everything I've always talked about. Energy, everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. What I say, go check out that song I did called Dear Lord, right? It's like, I said everything's energy, frequency, vibration. Remember the creator and tune to that station. Yeah. Some shit like that. So yeah, so you get those three things, right? You're talking, what do we say? Healthcare, education, and food. You provide those three things and in a healthy manner to your people and to your kingdom and everybody prospers. And then people can still find ways to make a living out of that stuff. Then we don't have to sit here and try to figure it out on YouTube and Rumble and all these different places and TikTok and try to build and brand ourselves through social media, because we're trying to just survive. We're just trying to live. We're just trying to get gas and go to work every day. And where my car sits at the fucking parking lot doing nothing, when I could actually be renting it out or whatever. I mean, there's different things we could do, but we're just learning that. We just learned that over the last few years. Remember when I told you, I said, I talked about this before in the past episode. And I said, the rich, the wealthy, the elite, the people we used to call these people, right? Which no longer exists, right? We're taking them down. But they used to they had access to all this stuff already. You think we used to ask ourselves, remember, you ask ourselves, I never see rich people in the grocery store. Because they didn't go. They had personal shoppers. We call that Instacart now. But they had that shit for years, forever, for always. There was always somebody out getting their stuff for them. So they had personal shoppers. And, we would hear about that stuff in the 80s and 90s. Oh, personal shoppers and stuff. So these people, you could have been hired for that stuff back then. If you were connected in the right areas, in the right situations, you could have got connected with that and been part of it. And you could have been somebody's personal shopper, Because yeah, we never saw the wealthy in the stores. They don't shop at the same stores. They got money to go ahead and get the good stuff straight from the farmers. They can get the farmer to chop up a cow for them. Chop up a cow, get some steaks and some ground beef and some sausage, and chop up different things for them, and it was healthier. And you got to think about that, right? And then they're going and getting the veggies and the fruits straight from the farmer and all that stuff. So they didn't have to go to Walmart like we do. They didn't have to go to Food Lion and different places and stuff like that. And then whenever they wanted to buy something, a lot of times they probably would just call the place. Like If I needed to buy a phone, I would just be like, back in the day, I just call, whoever had a phone. Who has a phone? Samsung, Nokia, Motorola, whatever. Just call them up and be like, how do I get this thing? How much does it cost? Okay, pay that money, wire them the money. They send you an invoice, you wire the money, and next thing you know, there's a phone in your fucking mailbox. I'm sure that's how they did it back then. They didn't go to AT&T and stand in line. They didn't go to the Verizon store and stand in line. So we're just learning that, when we took away a lot of that stuff over the last few years, because we've been in a spiritual battle with these people for the last almost 10 years now, right? Since actually probably more, since 2012. So it's been 13 years that we've been in battle with these people. Who knows? I why do we keep putting dates on things? We have no idea, right? We're just out here trying to figure shit out. But anyways, we could have been battling these people this whole time. We don't know. We don't know when all this started. But what happened was they hit us with this COVID situation, right? And next thing you know, everybody's online. We're all buying from DoorDash. We're all buying from Uber Eats. We're all, we're Instacarting. We're doing all these different things. And that's what got us wrapped up. We started realizing oh shit, what they did was they tied us into their system because they were losing people. So you got to remember, they were losing people on their side. So in order to keep their money flowing, what did they do? They offered us their services. And their services were what we're talking about: DoorDash, Uber, Airbnb. Remember that when that popped in the scene? It was like, oh, wait a minute. When I'm not home, I could have people paying to be in my home, or I can buy a rental and then just rent it out to people on a site instead of trying to figure it out myself, on some ad in the paper or telling my friends about it or whatever. There was ways to promote it better. Yeah, well, that's what the access is. That's what these people with wealth always had access to. They always had access to things we didn't know about. We didn't understand. They always had access to this stuff. This stuff is not new. We just think it's new because it's new to us. But it's always been around. You'll see my hair? Check my hair out. Look at this thing. This stuff's getting long. I don't know if y'all checking this out lately, right? I used to keep it wrapped up a lot of times. Or I'm starting to braid it, but today I'm just letting it flow. So just out here feeling the breeze. But yeah, I started the episode kind of hot, and we're doing something different. But the thing is we're gonna try a couple things today. So today I'm gonna start the episode out, talk for 20-30 minutes, and just kind of introduce the action. And then what I'm gonna do for the second half of the show, or whatever was left, is I'm gonna go play some Call of Duty Warzone, and I'm gonna talk through the game while I'm playing, and you'll be seeing Warzone footage on the screen with my face probably in one of the little corners somewhere, right? I'll be in the corner somewhere, and I'll just be talking just like this, giving you the same information, manifesting our world. That's what this one's probably going to be called. Manifesting our new reality or whatever, something like that. Yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, so then I'm gonna play some video games and talk some metaphysics, talk some shit, tell you about some things, talk about YouTube, talk about the different things I'm learning, talk about all these different stuff, right? End up just being almost like one big long Intox rant. So yeah, that's how we'll start this out. Because yeah, things come up, like we said, and Bdot couldn't make it today. So we had to improvise and do something different. Mix it up a little bit, We got 139 episodes. Most of them are in the building, and there's nothing wrong with that. Having a scene, having a infrastructure, having a place to do your stuff. But what's cool is that this show isn't stuck on that. We've never been stuck on that. We can do anything we want, however we want. And the stuff's portable. You saw it. Last week we were in my front yard where I'm at right now. But so we can take it anywhere. Well, we talked about going to the beach. I mean, doing different things. We'll have to see. We just have to coordinate things. That's it. Manifesting our world is we talk about it and then we're going to be about it. You just have to execute. It's about putting it together. Once you have the ideas, it's cool to have the ideas. Always have the ideas. Everybody's got ideas. But the whole point is to then take those ideas and execute. And then once you execute, you'll start to see it come together and you'll be like, why wasn't I doing this before? And sometimes it was fear. Sometimes it was fear. I just realized I still have my headset on. I was like, what is that in the camera? My headset's on for the other phone. At least I hope so. I hope I'm not fucking this up. Holy shit. Anyways, but so yeah, what else is going on out there? The wealth transfer. We still talk about that every now and again. Things are coming together. You got to look at it. And the reason we keep talking about this wealth transfer, and it's been years. I know it's been years. We're still talking about it because we're still trying to manifest it. And if everybody would come together and understand what's going on, they would help us manifest it. We do it faster. But what you can I can show you right now or tell you right now is look at your dollar. Your dollar is almost worthless nowadays. Inflation is killing it. That's what's telling you that it's going downhill fast. And you've got to figure out some new things to do and some new things to get into in order to make sure that your dollar lasts and sticks around, because think about it, right? If you have a system, a monetary system, and it's run by, satanic, crazy pedophile motherfuckers, right? And all they do is use everything against you to make money off you and use your money and stuff like that. Like we're paying taxes straight to them just so they can use it. We're paying, foundations, donating to foundations that just go straight to their pockets. They're not doing anything with this shit. But here's the thing. How do you get all that money out of the system without fucking it up? Well, you devalue it. So you've got all these people in the world who think they're billionaires, who think they got all this money, but once it's devalued, it ain't worth anything. Think about we've seen other countries, Iraq, Kuwait. We've seen other countries, their money go. Even Russia, when the USSR, when it went down in the 90s, their money went to like zero, probably less than zero. People were wiping their ass with the fucking dollars, right? And next thing you know, they revaluated, and which is what we're waiting to do. We're waiting to revalue. They revaluated, and then all of a sudden their money was worth shit again, right? And so people back then who took advantage of that, and got millions of dollars of whatever because it was worthless, but they waited for the reval. And once it was revaluated, sometimes it was 3, 4, 5 times what the face value was. So say they got $1 million worth of shit, they might have got $3, $4, $5 million out of it down the road when the money was revaluated. So that's one way to do it. That's one thing that's happening. And we're devaluing the dollar right now, but where's the new value going? A lot of people are saying it's going to be a digital value. And that digital value is XRP, XLM, XDC, Zebek. It's a bunch of different things. You just got to look into it, start researching it, look into it, see what's out there, see what's available, start getting educated like we've talked about. You got to educate yourself at least a little bit on this stuff because you got to know where the world's going. I mean, we're going into more of a quantum system, which is a digital infrastructure, we talked about last week. Remember that the internet's just a 3D version of the Akashic records. Remember when I said that? So you got to think that there's a 3D version and a digital version of a dollar. So we're not losing the dollar. We're losing the Federal Reserve note, right? Because the Federal Reserve note is what we use now. And so that's a debt. And we're not, that's the part that's being devalued. That's the part that's going away. All these people who think they have money now don't have shit. But what's going to happen is it's going to get turned into what's called, I think they're calling it a rainbow currency. It's going to be it'll be a U.S. Treasury note. That's, so it'll be a U.S. Treasury note. And that will be the new dollar per se, physical dollar. And then you'll also have digital stuff like XLM, XRP, all these different ones that we talk about, and I don't talk about a lot of them. I really only, this is the second or third time over the last 5 years, 3 to 5 years, that I've heard people say, get all your money out the stock market and start putting it into digital stuff, right? And I've heard that a couple times. That's what I did. In 2021 or 2022, something like that. I think it was 20 or 21 or 22. I think it was 21. I can't remember, but I think it was 20 or 21. Right after all the stuff was going down and we're starting to kind of, come back from everything. Something talked to me, online. I'm hearing stuff, but something just talked to me and said, get all your money out of the stock market and move it to digital stuff. So, I had Tesla stock. I had same stocks everybody had. I had Pepsi. I had Microsoft. I had pieces of this, pieces of that. I ended up with, back then I had maybe $10,000 to $12,000 or something just in the stock market, and wasn't making anything. It was just sitting there. And a lot of it was going down, remember, because after COVID, a lot of it was being devalued because, businesses were falling apart and things were going down. And so I took scraped together what was left, pulled a bunch, pulled probably out of that 10 or 12 I had in there, probably only pulled about 7,500, 8,000 out of there. And pulled that out of there and was able to take it and flip it, plus along with other money, and flip it and turn it into digital stuff. And that's when I got XRP, XLM, Stronghold, and Zebek, and I flipped it into all, Cardano and HBAR, and flipped it into a bunch of different coins. And so next thing I know, I've got, maybe I got $10,000, $12,000, maybe 15 total. Instead of in the stock market, I'm now in the digital stock market, looking at all these coins. And so, from there, what do? You hold. And right now, everything's going up. Everything's growing. So, so I was able to take a stock market investment and turn it into more. And it's the same thing you would have did in the stock market. You'd just be pouring all this money in the stock market. And as those companies grow, your money would grow. And over time, you could pull that out. You could then just go, hey, I'm going to go sell 10 Tesla stocks because it's up at 900 right now. And I'm going to get, almost $10,000 out of that. Right. So I could, maybe we can redo the kitchen, or we can, do an addition on the bathroom, or, whatever. So that's how people were doing stuff. They weren't just working and saving up their money. They were pulling stuff out the stock market, and, because they were putting every week or whatever, their check was putting money into the stock market. And so, they would be able to take that money out. Well, that's what I realized a couple of years back, was that the stock market is just not going to do it for us anymore. That's going to go away too, along with that fiat dollar, right? That's going to go away too, because the stock market is some fake shit, And so the idea from there is that, you go into this new digital stock market per se, right? And it's all based on digital coins and things like that, so that, it's a digital world. It's just changed it to a digital world where these coins are not backed by nothing. That's how it started. That's like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's backed by nothing. There's nothing that is working with that. That's why people, yeah, it's got value and stuff now because people are pumping it up because they put the money into it, they grew it, they built it, they put it together. Everybody bought into it for so long, so of course that's got some value to it. But when the stuff's over $100,000, there's no way, you know what I mean? It's over 100 grand now. There's no way most of us are going to get into that. What are you going to put $1,000 on it? You got one little piece of Bitcoin. Like that's how they sold it to us. That Bitcoin could be sold in pieces and this and that. And so everybody's putting their little bit of dollars in, and then it just pumps it up for everybody else who's sitting on top holding all the fucking money, And so it doesn't help nobody. You got people like Elon back in the day. Elon Musk turned around and bought $40 million worth of Bitcoin before it was even close to 50 grand or whatever, whatever. So he's probably doubled his money at this point, and that was just a little bit. He held billions of dollars worth of that stuff at some point or something. I don't know. But anyways, so you talk about us like that. And so that's where the value was at one point. And we know that market has been manipulated. So that's why, we're moving to this new digital world and this new digital stock market. And this is where the next situation is going to be, And so, everybody's got to take some chances. Somebody's got to be the pioneer, Somebody's got to figure stuff out. And so I'm just one of those people who's checking into it, and, I remember when I could have got into Bitcoin at one point and probably had a few dollars. Could have just bought, I could have bought 1,000 back then when it was nothing, but I just didn't understand the digital world yet. I was still trying to figure it out. And when somebody was like, you got to go get a wallet, but in order to get the Bitcoin in your wallet, you got to buy it from an exchange. And then when you buy it from the exchange, you got to transfer it to, your wallet. And then, and it's like, and then people were not knowing how to transfer it properly, and it's gone. You would lose it. That's why they say there's like 2.5 million Bitcoin that's just gone. Maybe more. It might be more, where it's just not even there anymore, because once it gets sent to the wrong address or the wrong situation, it just disappears. But I don't know. It probably doesn't just disappear. Somebody's got it somewhere, right? With all the shit we understand now, somebody's got it somewhere. But yeah, so, but that's the thing, is these coins like XLM and XRP and all these different coins are backed by different things. They're going to be backed by, they're going to be backed by gold. They're going to be backed by oil. They're going to be backed by diamonds. They're going to be backed by silver, and so there's going to be so many things that these coins are going to be able to do in the future, because we're investing into real precious metals instead of just investing into random companies that are doing nothing. You know what I mean? So yeah. But I don't know. I'm just ranting along here. But what I wanted to do is then transfer over, and we're gonna go play a few video games and see how the back half of this show goes. So I'll catch you then. So as you can see, we're going to continue this while we play some video games. So, playing a little something called Call of Duty Warzone Battle Royale Casual Solo. That's a mouthful. But yeah, it's just battling solo. And it's a Warzone game where you pick up weapons and armor and stuff, and you battle your way to the end. But yeah, so just continuing the conversation overall is, we gotta do better at manifesting our reality. We gotta do better, and the way we're going to do that is by learning and growing together, finding each other online, and trying to figure out what's really going on out here. Because half of the stuff that's going on, we've been lied to about. We've been lied to about so many things. And so now we got to start to the whole point of disclosure. Oh, here's another thing I want to talk about with disclosure and stuff, right? Is there's a new show on Hulu. I don't know if y'all have seen it. It's new to me, but it's called Washington Black. Y'all heard of that? And the idea is that it's a young black kid named George Washington Black out of Barbados. He's in the sugarcane fields, and then he's an inventor, right? And so you're looking at it and you're going, this is disclosure, because they talk about how the real George Washington was black and was from Barbados, same as this show's saying. That's the original. And so the idea is that, like, I'll tell you the story of what they tell us. They tell us that George Washington was this general who, ended up becoming the first president of the Constitution of the United States. And so everybody credits him for being the first president, but he's not the first president of he's the first president of the Constitution. He's not the first president of anything. He's just the first president of the Constitution. So he's the first president of when they took over in 1776, right? They took over and came at us, and they. So the idea is that technically George Washington was replaced. So the original George Washington, who was our president, right, was replaced by the George Washington that we know of today. That's what we're starting to understand, is everything's been replaced. It's not the same stuff that we started with, and that's the part that they're lying about. Oh, I just didn't land right. That was so stupid. But anyways, so George Washington, right, is supposed to be the first of our first president, but that's of the Constitution. We had presidents before that. We had government before that. So our government was taken over in 1776. That's what happened. Is our government was taken over. And next thing you know, here we are 250 years later. And that's why it was called, look up something called the George Washington Challenge. The George Washington Challenge, right? That tells you right there that they basically took over our country. And if we didn't know or understand how to get our country back, then they knew they could just take over for as long as they wanted. But this is what we're doing now. This is what we're battling. We found out that they were lying to us. We found out that shit wasn't right. So now we're going to be able to get our stuff back. That's why we've been talking about our TDA accounts and all these different things, right? We're going to be able to get our TDA accounts and be able to get our money, because they've been living off our money this whole time. Who do you think we were paying reparations to? We were paying reparations to them because we lost the fight. That was the whole point. We lost the fight to them, and so we had to give them reparations this whole time. That's why they've been living off of us this whole time. That's what all this was about. Oh, got me on that one. Sleeping. I didn't even know where I was getting shot from. I was getting shot from 2 different angles. Unbelievable. That's a war zone defeat. Let's see. Let's get into another match here. taking a minute. Oh no, I didn't want to spectate. Wait a minute. Whoops. No, I don't want to leave. Let's play again. All right. Here we go. We're trying it, folks. We're trying to see what we can do here. But yeah, so they took over our country back then, right? They infiltrated then. Well, guess what? Since then, we've been infiltrated multiple times by different factions, by different families, by different, situations. Right now, it's Israel who's infiltrated us. The Mossad, the CIA. It's all these three-letter agencies who have infiltrated our government and are now taking over. They're the ones in charge. That's why we have no say. That's why they got their goons called the police force out here patrolling our streets. That's why they got all that stuff going on. And we're free. This is freedom. This is what this is. So I don't know. These are just the things I think about. These are the things I think about. These are the things I'm studying. These are the things I'm trying to understand. And like I said before, I've always been someone to push the boundaries. I'm always someone who's pushing the boundaries somewhere. And I'm not doing it maliciously. I'm not doing it to just be doing it. I'm doing it because it's what feels right. Why are we so oppressed when we're supposed to be free? It's like when you live off grid. That's why they always say, you gotta get off grid. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. That's what all this was talking about. Was the more and more we connect with them, the more and more we connect into their world, the more and more we're just stuck. Because now we're reliant on them. Now we're reliant on their systems. That's what we're trying to get away from. That's why they say try to grow your own food. That's why they say try to do these different things, because get your health together. That way you're not relying on their hospitals and their medicines. You can use the black seed oil and different things like that, and the oil of oregano, and go listen to Bdot's song. Go listen to Bdot's song, Dr. Sebi, Vital Vibes, on the Kinglomerate album. Remember we played that? He tells you all the stuff you need. He tells you exactly what you need to get your life back together. You just got to figure out where your deficiencies are. Where's your deficiencies? That way you can figure out what you need to do. So, all right, let's get into this match. All right, let's see if we can get a little serious on this one, because I got ambushed last time. Let's figure this out. Where are we gonna drop at? Where are we dropping at? You know what? Let's go way out here. All right, here we go. Yeah, so, as their world crumbles, our world emerges. That's the whole point of manifesting our reality, and watching their world crumble. The chaos in the world right now is not our chaos. It's them creating chaos to try and put us into fear. They want us to be fearful, because they can work off that. They can control that. They can control us if we're fearful and we don't know what's going on. We're just going to be out here fearful, and we don't know what's happening, and we need somebody to save us. It's always an outside savior, and that goes into the whole, Christ consciousness and stuff. And then the Jesus story. Why does this story always pop up? It's not just, Jesus is one story, but in Egypt, it's raw. In Egypt, in different cultures, they had a different name for it, but it's the same thing. It's just not letting the system control us, taking our freedoms back. There's always somebody who has to show up and say, wait a minute, what's going on here? I don't think it has to be like that. And you just get those thought process, the Christ consciousness, your consciousness raises, the idea raises, things come together. And that way you can start to navigate your world and manifest better. You can figure out what you really want to get into, what you really want to do, what this world really means to all of us. It's crazy. we're all supposed to just grow up, pay bills, and die. That's something I never wanted to do. I always told myself, there was when I was working uh, for this one company where we worked in hospitals and stuff, and we installed the sound, the system, the hospital, when you hit the button and talk to the nurse. I used to install those systems, and so when I was doing all that, right, we would be working with electricians and different people, and I would see them sitting there with their lunch, and I would just be like, I never wanted to be that guy who just went to work, ate his lunch, and went home and did nothing, worked on my house maybe or something. Like, what are you really doing with your life? You're not doing anything. Where's oh my gosh, here we go. All right, got him that time. There we go. That's how we do it. Sneaking up on you. Give me that gun. Take that shit from you. Sidetrack me. See, I didn't know how this was gonna go, folks. I didn't know, was I really gonna be able to play this and talk at the same time? I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. But yeah, I'm just trying to see like the life of a streamer, right? This is what streamers do. They play video games and talk all day. It's pretty much all they do. I'm not saying that's something I want to do, but it's just another avenue of things. It's another skill. It's another way to try something, check stuff out. Because yeah, this is trying to do this all day, every day. No, thank you. Not something I would really be into. But yeah, so manifesting our world, that's the biggest thing that I wanted to get into everything today, just telling everybody, getting the information to everybody out there of like, let's start doing what we need to do, growing the food, building our medicines. We're not reliant on their systems. That's the whole point of growing your brand. That's the whole point of trying to build something for yourself, your own business, instead of always working for somebody. And that's for people who can do it. There's always going to be people who are going to need to work for somebody. That's just how it works. The thing is, though, is we're doing a lot of mundane jobs that we really shouldn't even be doing. It's like, what are we doing out here? All right, let's see where else we need to go here. Let's go pick up recon. Let's go over there. Oh, I need to get my loadout too. That's the first thing I need to do. Where's my loadout gonna be? Let's go back to this bad boy and get the loadout first. Oh. Where you going, buddy? Got him. All right, let's go get this loadout. The loadout is just it's better guns. I gotta get these better guns. The guns I've got, this ground loot bullshit is just not working it for me. So yeah, the more information we have mentally, physically, spiritually, the better we're going to be at manifesting our world and trying to figure it all out and growing and doing the things we need to do. We're not reliant. The idea is we became too reliant on their systems. And that's the problem. All right, now we're going to be rocking. Now that I got my weapons, here we go. All right. Yeah, so it's a new spiritual age, and these different stories about the Jesus figure was about taking back our sovereignty and not letting a government of any kind or an oppressor of any kind, take over us. Because that's what they've done all these years. That's the whole point of them lying to us. They lie to us to keep us in check. They don't lie to us because they love us. They lie us to control. They lie to us to control us. And, you know, and I think that's something that we have to understand and look at is the control. It's like it's all got to be done for a reason. You know, it's just control. So you got different factions out here that have been pushing for control, you know, and that's what we're fighting against. You know, that's why it is spiritual in a way, because they want to disconnect us as much as they can from, you know, from the creator. You know, we got to tune to the creator, but they want to break us from that. So of course they're going to do all these different things to make us think that we're not worthy or we're not capable or we're not this, you know, and that's the problem. All right, let's secure this action. Watch for anybody trying to creep up on us. See, we got 2 kills so far. There's 101 people in the building or in the game still. So we'll see what we can do here. I got to get a selfie. That's my next thing. Let's get a selfie after this. That's the thing I forgot in my last game. And I didn't make it very far because I didn't get the right stuff. What is, okay. Oh! This guy was just hanging out over here? I think he was just as confused as I was. All right, got a selfie. We got the recon. It's telling us where we're going here. Okay, let's head to this action right here. Here we go. Is the helicopter still here? Oh yeah, let's ride the helicopter. Let's do it. Oh, there was another helicopter up there. You see it? There was another helicopter over there. There we go. And we get in there. Oh, that helicopter chased me down. They're coming to get me. Oh, I tried to steal his shit, and he was paying attention. Got me. So y'all enjoying this gameplay? I know it's not the best, but I'm just trying something different. Trying to do something different. Bdot couldn't make it today, so I came up with a crazy idea just to see what would happen. Got him. Let's get redeployed out there. Let's see what other hijinks we can get into. All right, so all my stuff's over there. It's got to be a loadout. Okay, so let's just hit the loadout. We're gonna go down here and get my stuff. That way we can get rocking again. All right. Right back where we started. We got $3,400. I can get a selfie again here in a second. Just got to find a couple boxes. Yeah, so this is Call of Duty Warzone Battle Royale. Oh. He played it up, didn't he? Warzone defeat. All right, let's try one more. Let's see what we can do one more. And then we'll piece this together. We'll get this show together. You know what I mean? Just like I said, trying something different, trying to, step out, trying to figure out, see what people like, because here's the thing. I was thinking at one point too that, since Awkward Intelligence is, a network, Awkward Intelligence Network, right? We could bring gameplay to the whole thing, at some point, if that's something everybody wants to see, that's something people are interested in. We can bring gameplay to it and do some different things, try some different stuff out, just have some fun. I thought I've got a few different ideas with games that we could do, things we could check out and just review some things or whatever, or just play some video games and just laugh and have a good time. I mean, but that's a whole different, that's a whole different part of Awkward Intelligence. It's just putting out different content and having different things to see, have a little bit of something for everybody. Like I said, it's a network. So, what could we bring? Gameplay is another one. We're still working on the Audacity Out Loud. That's still in the play. If y'all see, there's a TikTok. He's got a TikTok. I'll have to throw that on the screen. There's a TikTok out there for Audacity Out Loud and stuff, and so you can see what's happening and what's coming up for the show and how things are progressing, and just getting everybody excited about it. And then we're gonna drop that thing. You know what I mean? And start dropping those and getting people involved in the Audacity Out Loud. That'll be cool. That'll be the next small adventure. And you've seen us do tributes and documentaries and different things and stuff. So we're trying different things, trying to grow the network a little bit and do different stuff, So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the next steps are. But let's get into this battle royale casuals and see if we can actually do something. It's a little bit harder when you got to talk and not pay attention. First time I landed, it just almost hit the ground. Cut your parachute. Cut your parachute. All right, let's see what we can do on this one. We'll run this one and then we'll just wrap things up. I think that'll be good. We'll work it from there. So we just got a consciousness raise the other day. Did y'all feel it? Did y'all feel that energy? Purging? Y'all doing some different shit? All right, let's see where we're going to land. Yeah, those energies are out there. The energies are growing. Energies are hitting us. The Schumann, y'all looking up the Schumann? Check out Consciously Erin on YouTube. She does a daily show on the Schumann resonance. I think we've talked about that before. Something to think about, something you can put on the, in the repertoire and see what's going on out there. See what you can get into. But all right, let's see if we can get over to this thing without anybody fucking with us. I think we're doing all right now. I don't think anybody came with us. Yeah, we're doing okay. We're all by ourselves right now. Let's get down here, get this action, and get to play. Get to work. Oh, it's the same spot I landed last time. Look at that. All right, we get this. Let's go get some weapons. Grab a weapon or two here. The box is at. There we go. Give me some plates. Something. There we go. There's a plate. All right, let's go look around up top, see if we can get anything else up here. A little bit of cash. Is that something? Look at that. Hide the plate back there. There's a box. At least one box. That's what I was hoping for. Get some cash, get something. Oh shit, someone snuck up on me already. See, this is what happens in this game. This is why you can't be like talking and fucking playing at the same time. Everybody's sneaking up on people. Got out of that one. Okay, let's see if we can get over to this scavenger action now. So yeah, just a little bit of gameplay for you folks. Like I said, trying something different, showing you that there's some, the network. We're trying to grow the network. There's different things we can do, and if gameplay and different things is what's for you, then down the road we'll have some of that for you. Till then, we're talking that shit, trying to get everybody straightened out. We want to be sovereign. We want to be able to do what we need to do in abundance, not worry about a bunch of bullshit all the time. It's not what we were sent here for. I was sent by source, so I'm waking up the masses. Oh, helicopter up there, you see that? All right, let's get this last one. So far, so good. And then we can get our load out, and then we can get rocking. Let's see if we can do something good with this one. You know what? Yeah, let's focus in. Yeah, the reason you want to get that scavenger early on is because it gives you a bunch of loot, and you get enough cash to go get your load out. All right, where are we heading to get this load out? Helicopter landed over there. I definitely don't want. Definitely don't. Let's go back to this one. All right. So for the last part, let's have a little fun. We're going to get a little serious on this game. Try to see if we can get something going. I'm not going to talk as much, but I'll talk you through it a little bit. But I'm going to talk more about the game. That way we can see if we can get something going. All right. Leave it in the comments if you like this gameplay, or something like this. Like I said, we can bring more stuff like this to you. Not specifically us. It might not be us, but we can get. Oh, somebody's over here. Somebody wants some action. Got him. There we go. All right, let's go get these weapons. Then I can be more effective. Can't be so effective with this ground loot bullshit. These weapons are garbage. I need my weapons. All right, we're gonna get these, and then we gotta get into this circle before we get caught out here with our pants down. All right, here we go. Pick up that action. All right. Get the load out. All right, now we got to get into this circle. All right, so where do we got to go? Oh my God, there's a car coming. Stay, don't see me. All right, let's get out of here. Let's find a spot to chill for a second, then I can figure out where I'm going. All right, where are we heading to? Let's go get this recon. Let's go get this action right here. Yeah, so we want to get that so that gas isn't chasing us. Gas is chasing us right now, and so we're not looking good. We got to get into the circle without getting taken down. Kind of like life, right? There's always something chasing you. There's always something on your heels. Ooh, there's a dude. He didn't see me. He didn't see me. Probably stopped at that buy right there. Pick up a couple things. Oh, it's in Superstore. That's probably not good. High loot area. A lot of people in here. Yep, definitely somebody been in here. Oh, they're fighting out back. Let's take this and get out of here. Yep, see that? It's right on my back. Look at it. It's right on my back. We got to get there, and we're there. We're good, we're good, we're good. Objective got compromised. All right, we got to find something. Oop. Everybody's fighting out here. Holy shit. There's a war going on outside. Let's get out of here. Too much going on over there. Here we go. Got to get somewhere. Holy fuck. Where's this circle at? No, I shouldn't go way out there. I don't know. I got to get to the circle before the gas gets me. Shit. Damn it. Oh, he just popped out like he knew I was there? Come on. All right, let's see if we can get out of the gulag. All right, here we go. We got this. Let's get back in the fight. Got him. All right. Hopefully we got a loadout out there. We can drop right on that. And we don't. But we're in the circle. So where can we go? Where can we go? Got nothing good in the circle. Oh, way over here is a scavenger. Let's get over there. There we go. We'll go to get this scavenger and we'll go figure things out. Maybe a loadout will drop by then. Hopefully nobody's sniping. Somebody might be getting in that helicopter here in a second. All right, let's see if we can get this scavenger without anybody peeking us. Come on, we got this. And we got to go back where we came from. Here we go. That's the bullshit Call of Duty always be doing. It's going to send you in opposite directions. But that's okay. We got to loot this house. See if we can get some gear. Get some better weapons. I definitely don't want that. Okay, maybe I do. All right, let's go see what's upstairs real quick. Anything good upstairs? Nope, everybody's pillaged everything. All right. Let's head over to this next one. Check if there's anything good in here. There we go. One of those, one of these. Anybody looking? Nobody's sneaking up on us right now. Okay. We're doing okay. Doing okay. Oh, there's a helicopter coming. Somebody's looking for us. Ooh, C9, that'll work. That's a much better joint. Oh, everybody is over here right now. Let's just go get this action. Let them fight it out. There we go. Now we're in better position. 72 people left. Let's see if we can get a good score on this one. Shit, where do we go? Where do we go? Oh, we're going to end up in Quarry. I know where to go. Let's see if we can get over there. There's this cool little house in the back. If I can get to it, that might be the best place to go. Woo! Battling, baby. Was that the dude? Thought he was gonna run me down, huh? Is he looking for me? Oh, I just froze up. Did I just freeze? No. Okay, we're good. All right, let's see if we can get moving. I need this. Do I got a selfie? I got a selfie. Let's get a UAV. Oh, shit. Nope. Got caught. Got caught slipping. He was right there. Damn. Well, I guess that's it. So, yeah, just wanted to wrap this up, and let you know we'll spectate this out. We'll see how this goes. But just wanted to give y'all something different, show y'all some gameplay. Look, we'll spectate and see how this goes. And I'll just finish out the conversation real quick while we watch this gameplay. I think this is the guy that took me down, and so we'll watch his gameplay and see if he gets taken down. But yeah, so in the end, manifesting our world is where we're at. It's the reality we're in now. We're done manifesting their world, and we're going to start manifesting ours. And this is the new reality we're in. This is the stuff we're going to be. This is the stuff we're doing. You can do so many things with your life. It's what you want to do, what you're capable of, what you're, and right now it's what your bills can afford. What can you afford based on what you're doing and how much money you have and That's what it's all right now. But all that's going to change. Like I said, and with the digital world coming in and the digital things happening, Jasara happening, the wealth transfer, all these different things are going to bring us to this new reality that we're in. See, look, it was done anyways. These guys are everywhere right here. Everybody was over here. This is going to be a tough match. This is a tough match. Everybody's over here right now. They're all in the same place. So yeah. So thanks for hanging out, and we'll be back next week, and we'll see you then. So episode 139. Have a good one.
Awkward intelligence.
Just smoking vibes.
This is awkward intelligence.
Just smoking vibes.